Anime Reflux. Mm. Baseball, 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 anime baseball.
When I was a
That
kid, I played baseball a lot, and I would go to the batting cages every weekend, and I'd just go swinging and swinging and swinging, and I'd hit some of the balls, but I'd miss a lot more. But it was a lot of fun. This was not as much fun.
well, I was thinking about that while the part of this episode was happening, and like sports anime is never going to be as good as sports because there's no element of who's going to win.
That's
It's,
not true at all. There are plenty of anime that are as good as actual sports. Uh,
yes,
Better in
but
some
there's
cases.
not. The heroes are always going to win. It doesn't.
I would like to
That's
point
how
you to
anime
Hajime no
works.
Ippo.
Eventually.
I would like to
Also,
point you to Hajime no Ippo.
I lost track of that series, so I actually have no idea what happens beyond
He
episode
retired from
1000.
brain damage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. He took a lot of blows to the face. That was kind of his fighting style, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. Also, I don't feel bad about spoiling that because that's like from 3 or 4 years ago. So,
No, that's fair.
Mm.
I wasn't. Like, after reading 1,000 chapters, I was a little bored of it. So I've long since dropped that series.
yeah. So, yeah. Also, a lot of other sports anime do that as well. There are some that do the very easy thing of having the underdog team win every game so surprisingly, and just that's it. That's the story. But there are also the ones that don't do that and have them hit setbacks and struggle and stuff. Those are usually
Hmm.
really good.
That's actually kind of cool to hear. I mean, I assumed it was the same as Western sports movies where you know, the
Yeah, no,
heroes always win.
they tend not to do that. There are some that do, but most of them don't. Um, but yeah, this what the fuck was this show called again? Something Nine,
Princess Nine.
Princess Nine. Yeah, because girls playing baseball. What?
I actually like the opening of Princess Nine and the music. I actually really like that.
You kind of nailed it, though. It is just baseball, 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 baseball. Yeah, but I mean that's kind of to be expected, though.
Yeah,
A girl that is 15 years old playing baseball? Look how crazy this is. She's so
I
good at throwing baseball.
I I love how stupid this is. This is stupid on so many fucking levels. This is kind of Prince of Tennis levels of sports anime of how dumb this
Yeah,
is.
you're
Yeah.
not wrong. Actually, the comparison is strong.
Goddamn baseball superpowers. It's fucking all right. So this show starts with like a shitty like I suppose baseball is usually played. It's I don't know when baseball's usually played, but this is like a Sunday league as far as football terminology would go. So like just shitty nobody's just a local thing done for fun, more or less, kind of thing. Uh, and there is a team that's winning like 8-5, and they're doing. That's a really good score to have right before the end of the game. Uh, and it's framed as if they're in really big trouble because they have one guy left to strike out, and that's it. And well, one guy left to get an out on, and the pitcher's shit and can't do it. Okay, so they need one out, and they need to make sure that the other team doesn't score 4 goddamn runs on him, which would be a feat uh, for.
They they do frame. I A friend of mine that I've made from at the D&D shop was telling me about baseball because he is actually a fan of it. And they have a lot of pitchers, actually. They have like 4 or 5 pitchers for an entire game. So
Oh
if
yeah,
one person has been forced to play the entire second half of the game, yeah, he'd be exhausted.
yeah,
So it's
uh,
believable.
yeah. But the thing is, at that point, you could literally put anyone else in, and they almost certainly get a fucking out in that circumstance, just from sheer attrition. Like, it's
Yeah,
one out.
it is. It is to the extreme. Yes.
Yeah. Um, but they're bringing in a ringer, this great baseball prodigy, who is a 15-year-old middle school girl who
Our
has to
secret
play.
weapon.
She has
Which we
to play
find-
in her uniform.
Which we find out later is apparently not that hard to believe because this world is just full of prodigies. But
Yeah.
for now, she's pretty alone.
Yeah, she is running late, so she has to play in her school uniform, which I feel like they don't usually allow, but whatever. It's like
No, that
it's a
would
Sunday
definitely.
league.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be that strict about it.
Yeah. So she goes there in her fucking seifuku and just to enhance how a good girl the whole situation is, and she goes up to the mound and fucking throws 3 really bad balls, like right off the bat. Pardon the pun. And the catcher calls a timeout, and he's like, "Hey, what the hell?" And she's like, "Yeah, you had me come right here and didn't let me warm up or anything, and I'm in my goddamn school uniform with my fucking moccasins on. What did you expect?"
Fair point.
Fair enough, yeah. That's a really good point. And then she throws 3 strikes immediately and is declared the best baseballer ever because she got an out on one guy. Which is a little weird.
The mysterious lady in a car nearby is watching this. Is like, I guess she has her father's talent.
Okay. Looked like she was just a player of baseball to me, but okay. Maybe they saw something I didn't. And they're going to establish what baseball superpower she has in the... Well, they kind of established it in this episode later on. But, yeah. So that all happens. And then we go to school. And the end of school. And baseball superhero asks boy to a snack shop or something. And he has a crush on her, and he's going to a really good school, and she's not going to a high school, which is a thing in Japan. You can do that.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. That feels strange and foreign, definitely.
Yeah, that's the thing with like high school entrance exams. They actually have to qualify to get into a high school. There are plenty of high schools that will basically just take anyone, but it's absolutely an option to just not go. Anyway, that's your Japanese culture lesson for today.
I am learned.
Yay. So she's not going to high school because her mum runs a restaurant and she wants to help out there because family. Japan, naming convention, family comes first. Get it? So, yeah.
That I'll admit, even for that's kind of a weak reason. I mean, it's not like the shop was failing or anything. She's just doing it solo. So, I mean, the implication is there that she's stressed and overworked, but they don't really focus on it.
I mean, yeah, she's got to go back to doing baseball at the end of the episode, remember?
I didn't get to watch the last 10 episodes or 10 minutes.
Grant, okay. Did you honestly think she was literally going to retire from baseball and actually just work as a waitress for the rest of the series?
Considering how slow burn some of these can be, yeah, actually. I thought maybe they were going to have an episode of her just being a waitress.
Okay, you say so. Alright. Yeah, so dude has a crush on her, and she doesn't notice it. It's funny because the roles are reversed. Moving on. After that, we have scenes with other superpowered sports people. We have guy who's voiced by Vic Mignogna, whose name I didn't catch, who is a good batter. And then we have girl from sister school to Vigman's school, who is a really good tennis player with incredibly elaborate hair, which I feel is the one thing that was weird in the intro was just all of these girls that have incredibly huge, elaborate hair, and I feel like that's a really bad thing for baseball. Like, one slide and ow.
You would probably want to like put it into a bun, but yeah. Generally speaking, that's not great.
Yeah, but they're girls, so they have to be big hair to show they're girls. God. I hate that it's so on the nose. I get why, given the time it was made, and that, yeah, it's still Japan where this kind of thing is still incredibly rare, but still, goddamn. Alright. So, mysterious lady in fancy car goes to reporters and is like, yeah, I'm gonna make an announcement. Bye. And then goes away. And tennis player, who is her daughter, is like, hey, that announcement, what's that all about? And mysterious lady is like, forget about it, just play your tennis. And, you do you. And big head girl, the tennis player, is like, is this what it's like to be, what was it, a canary in a cage?
Yeah, I think that's a.
It was weirdly specific, like just a caged bird is the phrase. Canary is like coal mines. That's kind of weird to pick out that bird in particular. But yeah, I feel like that might have been an idiom that they translated. I feel like that was supposed to be frog in a well, maybe.
Probably, yeah. Also, did the reporters call her the cougar of the status quo? It's something of the
Crusher,
status quo.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I didn't quite catch that one.
It was destroyer of the status quo of some fashion. I forget what word it was specifically, but it definitely wasn't cougar.
Yeah, I didn't assume so, because that's different.
Yeah. So then we go to next day at the restaurant that baseball superheroine works at, and some baseball toughs come in. Baseball toughs. Okay, so they come in and they're like, we came here to find out about this new pitcher that what's his name team, Sunday League team has. And she's like, yeah, okay, what you want? And they're like, what? A girl? Again, it's very
Girl.
very hammering that point like over and over again. But that's fine.
It is the most of the premise of the show, so it's fine.
Most is maybe being generous. It is the entire premise of the show. So they're like, we're gonna fucking fight in this restaurant because we're complete assholes. Like, literally everyone, including the people that are on baseball superhero side. And then mysterious guy in the corner is like, why don't you go outside and not destroy the restaurant and settle this with some baseball? And that's the baseball toughs are like, settle it with the thing we came here to talk about. This guy's crazy.
This isn't a world that revolves around baseball. What do you think this is, Yu-Gi-Oh?
We came here to smash some shit. What the fuck are you talking about? Alright. So, yeah. They, God, I took notes. Oh, yeah. And then they're like, well, we don't bother with small-time players, even though we're here hassling about you because you have a new player in a small-time team. So why are we even here in the first place? Kind of thing. It's a little contradictory. But okay, we go down to fucking the tiny field that exists that they've been using the entire episode. And other baseball superhero batting guy. Batman. Call him Batman. Batman is there, and he's fucking like, what the fuck's going on? This is not supposed to be a game. And they're having a baseball is happening, and she has to strike out these two baseball toughs. Sorry, it's still a funny concept. And she strikes out the first one without even trying, even though presumably once again she hasn't warmed up, so okay. Alright. And the other guys that were on the team that she was on previously are like, yeah, I remember when we first discovered how she has baseball superpowers. And flashback to a scene where it's, I don't know, I think it was a pop fly or something. It just went straight up and ended up on the fucking road at the top of the bank. And they're like, hey, girl that exists, could you roll that back down? And she's like, yeah, sure. And pitches it from like 100 feet away directly into the catcher's mitt.
That's impressive.
I'm pretty sure that's impossible. Like, that... Professional players... I don't know whether they would actually be able to do that. Like, struggle at best.
I played a lot of baseball. I went to baseball camp. I just want to say, to do something like that, doesn't matter how talented you are, you need to train.
Yeah. So that happens, and I realize, oh, we're in Prince of Tennis. Okay. So, yeah, I feel like at a different school, there is a fucking tiny kid that is saying Mada Mada Dene or something.
I feel like you're undermining your own narrative that, like, oh, yeah, I know. Girls can compete against boys in baseball just as well. You're undermining that when you're like, the reason why these girls can compete is because their pitcher has baseball superpowers that she got from her dad, and she doesn't need to really train that to really be at a professional level.
Yeah, and then we're back to the game, and she's like pitching at the second guy, and the music swells, this dangerous air to it for some reason. Not entirely sure why, it doesn't actually go anywhere. First pitch is a strike, second pitch he swings, and it's a foul ball. And it goes up, and it basically does what the first one did, like in the flashback.
It flies, but then a guy up on the bank hits it with his bat back to her.
Directly into her mitt. Okay.
Which also feels incredibly impossible.
Yeah. Like, she probably would have broken her wrist from that. Just, like, direct shot directly into a mitt. Yeah, that probably wouldn't have been
Just
great.
hitting a baseball that has been, thrown can hurt your hands and wrists. Catching one that was just hit at you, like, directly into your mitt like that, without really having your mitt spread, that would hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that happens. And weird guy who had decided to be the umpire for some reason. I don't know. It's probably going to pay off in the next episode. Not that I'm going to watch it. He's like, hey, why don't we sub him in? Don't worry about it, the guy that's bitching about this sudden decision that he had no input on. You were never going to hit that fucking pitch anyway, even though you literally just hit that pitch. Yeah, okay. This show is really dumb. So the Batman is a pinch hitter, okay, and that's where the episode ends.
Find out next week if this character who you have little reason to care about can actually do it.
So the
Yeah.
acting was great. I will give it credit for the acting. For the time period, this was a really well acted anime.
Yeah, I'll
Dub.
agree with you on that.
Yeah, it was really good. The animation was okay. It used that. It really likes that animation of her doing her pitching motion, which, I mean, it's not like it's going to change much, so fair enough. That's about all I have to say about it, aside from the story being stupid as hell. But I feel like I established that pretty well with the summary. So, yeah.
I don't like it when a story takes a stance of we're going to empower women um, by giving them a special superpower that nobody else has. It's just like, well, you're saying that this is what you need to do in order to make them compete and be powerful. It feels, you're undermining your own point.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Star Wars with Rey. It's like she has all the power. She doesn't really have to train, and she's doing the best work at getting everything done perfectly. It's just
Yeah. It's empowering women by waving a magic wand and saying you're empowered now. Okay,
yes,
cool. No work, no effort. Cool. Which, granted, for a certain perspective, that's how it's viewed to work for men. It's not. Uh, speak to any working class dude, they will say, "No, I totally have to bust my ass. Thank you very much." But for some men, certainly it is a lot easier than it is for women, and they have advantages. Yes, that is very true. They're also not instantly good at things, though. Like, the men that have advantages and just coast through life, everyone fucking hates those guys too. So,
And they don't exactly have it easy either, because then they don't learn how to put effort into things. So the second something is challenging, you run into that situation where they just crumble.
exactly.
So it's not exactly a great approach when it comes to trying to do the empowering women story arc, I guess. That's not really fair. I mean, there comes a point when I have to stop giving them the out, pardon the pun, of just, it's Japan. Like, yeah, okay, it doesn't mean it's okay, though. If it's Japan, it's still kind of shitty.
That doesn't mean you can't criticize. I mean, that you can gain understanding just because you didn't grow up there.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's Japan. I still find it kind of shitty. Like, that's a valid perspective as well, and I'm not saying it shouldn't exist, which is what some people respond to this kind of thing with, which is really going a little far. More just, I think it's kind of shitty. I don't want to watch it, and I don't really recommend other people watch it either.
Yeah, there was no reason for me to care about these characters necessarily. When you're showcasing your character's skills as opposed to their personality, that's kind of the problem you run into in the first episode. It's like, wow, this character is skilled. I like baseball. That's the reason to watch it versus, oh, this is an interesting character, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this story goes. I want to see this character grow and do the thing. But it's hard to do that when your character is already coming from a point of they are really, really good.
Yeah. Like, I actually have a direct comparison to this episode, and that's the first episode of Ace of Diamond. Again, that's not an entirely fair comparison because this is 2 decades after this show came out. But in that show, you have a character that kind of has baseball superpowers. Not really, like, it's still very much within the bounds of reality, but he has a particular skill that makes him potentially a good baseball player. But he's also kind of shit because he doesn't know how to harness that ability yet because he hasn't been trained. So he has to actually train to get better. And it tells you something about the character's personality because it spends a lot of time on him as a person, as well as he could be a good baseball player, and, that could be cool. So, it's not a great intro to the story either. It's, yeah. I don't really care about the characters. I don't care about what are they after me caring about here? Where are they going with this? Am I supposed to be caring about the school thing or the local team thing or that other dude that was in the episode for a couple of minutes for seemingly no reason? In fairness, that's also a thing in a lot of sports anime, is just the girl that is there and wants the D, and that's her entire character, and she is in like a minute of every episode doing absolutely nothing. But, I can't really fault it that much for that, because that's literally every sports anime. But yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to latch onto here because it's not the protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the concept of the revival of or creation of an all-girls team, but I don't know if that was even really hinted at much.
No, it was not. There was not. No, it wasn't brought up once that there was going to be an all-girls team.
There were shades of misogyny, certainly, and not even shades. There was blatant.
There was a
displays
fucking solar eclipse of misogyny, is what happened.
There you go.
Christ.
But that wasn't unique to this anime. That's just a shitty thing that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we roll a new one?
It wasn't even that it was just a shitty thing that happens. It was just a shitty thing that happens, but also every possible fucking effort was expended to make it seem fairly ridiculous and actually kind of make that response kind of understandable. Like, yeah, they had her show up in her fucking Seifuku, and they were supposed to take her seriously as a baseball player.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah, so that a lot of things just kind of didn't go very well in this one. Oh well. Well,
17.
Again.
I rolled the 17.
Yeah, I think the only complaint I had with the voices was the main characters, actually. She kind of stands out as oddly mismatched with the rest of the cast, it feels like. Also, her name made everyone sound like they have a verbal tick.
Yeah, everyone just kept shouting, yo. It's not how you pronounce that.
I thought they were trying to be 90s cool at first. I didn't realize that was her name until a couple of minutes into the episode.
17, you said?
Yep.
13, 14, 15, 16. 17 is R, because it would have been Q again. Goddamn Q. Oh Christ, I forgot that we had Ruby on the list. Ugh. 57.
57. Here we go. 34.
Thank God. I definitely know that's not Ruby. Alright. 30 what?
34.
Roll 34. It's funny. We've done that one. Roll it again.
11.
11. Ooh, that was almost something very famous.
Huh.
Okay.
Where is it? Is that it? I have to assume this is it. Yeah. Okay. Ba 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 ba. Ranpo Kitan, whatever that is. It was almost Ranma, is the thing it almost was.
On Game of Laplace.
Game of Laplace. Is
Laplace.
how you pronounce that.
I've never heard that said out loud before, so.
Yeah, it's French. The story takes place at a certain middle school where several murder cases take place. Kobayashi, a boy who goes to this school, meets genius detective Akechi. Oh my god, it's a persona. Okay.
It's a persona.
Who comes to the school to investigate. Kobayashi takes an interest in Akechi, and in spite of his friend Hashiba's worries, he volunteers to be Akechi's assistant. Okay.
All right. It's like a horror mystery thing.
It says genre is horror. Let's look at the comments, see what we're getting into.
The
Apparently
anime
underrated.
is inspired. Yeah, the anime is inspired by the works of author Edogawa Ranpo and commemorates the 50th anniversary of his death in 1965.
The Japanese Arthur Conan Doyle. That is high praise.
Okay, this might be really good.
Okay. It's gonna be a little horror. Like, legit. Like, if you see the word Guro in anything, especially with arrow in front of it, it's probably gonna be a little gross. So...
Whoa, okay. That's a unique combination of words.
Okay, so... Alright. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, no, I'm down for this. This dude was inspired by Edgar Allan Poe, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. He even attempted to translate the Sherlock Holmes works into Japanese while he was at university.
This guy sounds really fucking cool.
I know. And this is an anime made inspired by his works that commemorates the 50th anniversary of his death.
All right.
So
I have incredibly high hopes for this one.
Me too. Wow.
I don't know when the last time was that I was hopeful for an anime. Let's go. Like, fucking maybe Unlimited Blade Works? That didn't turn out great, but, you know, that wasn't really... There were reasons for that.
Based on the show itself or outside reasons?
Because it did the prequel thing in the first episode that was shit. Yeah. So. Alright, so we'll be doing that. What was it? Ranpo
Kitan, Game of Laplace.
Yeah. Game of the place. I don't know whether Laplace means the place. I'm gonna double check that.
Don't. I saw a review which was not great, so maybe don't set your expectations too high.
I'm gonna set them the highest.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it means the place. I double checked. Yeah, okay. Game of the place.
place.
Alrighty. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you guys.